before that time, I could do anything. I was fierce. I was fearless. I was going to make it any way that I could. But after she got killed, I became a mere mortal, realizing that my life could be in danger at any second.
And welcome to the show, Lizzie Maxwell, the empowerment powerhouse. My daughter's Nana, the woman that I met way back when I came to the United States, that said, if you want to move somewhere, look here, here, and here on the map, where me and my husband had no clue where to go. The woman that I can call anytime and say, hey, I don't know, I don't feel good. I need to talk to you, or whatever. We all have some people in our lives that we know for a fact we can call and just be 100% ourselves with. And that is, some people have more, some people have one person. But for me, Lizzie Maxwell, she gave me her energy, her time. She gave me opportunities in Hollywood to work with Jennifer Aniston's dad, which I will never forget, Fixing Rhonda. She's an author, she's a producer, she's an actress, she's just amazing. So without going more and more, because the accolades could go up to Mount Fiji, welcome to the show, Lizzie Maxwell. How are you, my love?
Thank you, Yoana. It's so great to be here with you today. It really is. I am so happy to see, from the young woman I met to the beautiful woman you've become. And I'm so happy to be here with you today.
Thank you. I really thought about having you on the show because really you embody the powerhouse. So to all of you that are watching, you know that my goal with this show is really spiritual. And I really truly believe that I am a light worker and I am here on this earth in this lifetime to give as many people as I can joy, strength, a reason to wake up the next day, a reason to believe in themselves, a reason to believe that they can start all over. And I want to ask you, Lizzie, to tell me a little bit about yourself. You have such a wonderful life story, but then also you have a story that's filled with obstacles. It's like a beautiful movie, right? And it's so many chapters in your life that I'm aware of. So for all of the women that are watching, listen closely, because Lizzie is definitely the person that will give you the power to move on. So I want to know more about who you are and where you are right now in your life and some of the biggest struggles that you currently have in your life.
Okay, that's a big question.
It's a loaded question.
It's a loaded question. But I will tell you that right this minute, I am in act 3 of my life. If life is 3 acts, this is life 3. And I'm really hoping that this is the best act. But I have, along the way, enjoyed every bit of act 1 and 2. So I'm going to start when I was 30 years old. And I had a degree in communications, film, radio, and I had a degree in psychology, and I was selling real estate. And I just happened to make a load of money in real estate. I looked up in my office one day, which we're talking Massachusetts, which is where I'm from. And I said, well, what do you really want to do? 30 is that point where you just might have to transition to what you really want to do. And I said, well, I've always wanted to act. And so I packed up the car and I moved to, I'm trying to think of the Beverly Hills song, Beverly Hillbillies song. Packed up the car and moved to Beverly. And basically, basically, that's what I did. I had one friend in Los Angeles, where I'm residing right now, and I had called her and said, pick me up at the airport and find me a cheap place to live. She picked me up. She whisked me off to places I didn't want to go, like card palaces, poker palaces. And it's like, I grew up with this girl. Her family was, very well-to-do in the suburb of the city I lived in. She was really my best friend since third grade. And I was like, why are you bringing me here? Later on, she brought me to her aunt's house. And her aunt and I hit it off. And I ended up moving in with the aunt for 3 years. Those were my first 3 years in Hollywood. And they were great. I was living my dream. I was an actress. I got a part in a movie. I met a director who really liked me and took me, under his wing. He was the assistant director for Ingmar Bergman. He gave me a job not only as an actor, but also on production. We went to Arizona together. We scouted locations together. Here I am in Hollywood, my first year. I'm going to be a star. Well, it didn't really happen that way. Because, things don't happen the way you hope they do. Once in a while they do, but not always. There's usually, you've got to take a road with a lot of trials and tribulations. So about a year into my wonderful life here in Hollywood, the friend who picked me up at the airport was killed. She was murdered by someone she had met at one of these card palaces. And that was in 1985. It changed my life because before that time, I could do anything. I was fierce. I was fearless. I was going to make it any way that I could. But after she got killed, I became a mere mortal, realizing that my life could be in danger at any second as well. I carried on. I still stayed in the acting. I got a number of different jobs just to afford my acting, because out here, my money, which I had made in real estate, didn't go too far. Too many people needing dinners and lunches and breakfasts and, but I continued on, stayed with Peter, the director that I was working with. Our movie fell through, but we continued on. And I got the lesson that I probably needed to learn in those first 2 years. Life doesn't always happen like you want it to, And it's the way your attitude is what guides you. I could have, buried myself. I could have gone back to Massachusetts and sold real estate. There's a lot of things I could have done, but I stayed, and it wasn't the easiest life for many years, I will tell you that. But, the phone rings one day and you hear, you have an audition. And all of a sudden, life is good again, So those were my first few years here. That was probably the biggest thing in my life that changed my life, was the murder of my friend. And I was the one who actually discovered who it was, the murderer. I mean, when the detectives came to my door at Aunt Millie's house, honestly, I thought they were going to arrest me for her murder. But after looking through mugshots, I happened to see a guy, and I didn't recognize him, though I had met him once before. But what I did recognize was her jewelry around his neck. And I told the detective that, and he was arrested. And that gave me a little closure. Now, go over to 2006, when I had written a whole screenplay about this. And a friend of mine, Nellie, said, "Oh, let's do your movie. Let's do your movie." I well, how are we going to do our movie? We don't have money to make a movie. Oh, let's just do it. Let's just do it. Well, it so happens I asked some people for money and they gave it to me, you know? And we made a movie that year, which is the same year I met you because you were my script supervisor as well as an actress in my movie, and you did a great job. We made a movie with $33,000. $33,000. We made a feature film.
We did. Yeah.
Now, I have still not released that movie. I had gotten distribution and I lost it, and I still have not released it. But it's never too late. That movie will be released within the next year on Amazon, no matter what.
Oh, that is amazing news. Wow. I'm so proud of you and I'm so happy. That is so cool. Now that is something to look forward to. I can't wait.
I would love to get the Beach Boys music for my movie. But you know what? I think I'm just going to release it as it is. And if someone wants to pick it up and do something with it, then put in some Beach Boys songs.
Do you think that maybe Jimmy Barry or Tessa or, anyone that was part of it could maybe help? Like, we could help in any way we can, make sure the project is happening. So I'm just throwing out some ideas, see if we can get more people together, see what we can do in that regard. For all of you, the cast was really, really cool. Tessa is, even at this point, she's doing really great projects in Hollywood. Nellie, I think she's a host for several shows. I believe she's in Texas. Jimmy, I don't know much about, but he was featured in many movies at that time. Do you know anything about
it? I don't. I've seen his name on a few TV shows, but I don't really know what he's doing right now.
Yeah. So in the meantime, I know that you were married. I know that you're also happily divorced after many, many years of marriage. And so life really did take you on a roller coaster.
It did. Yeah, I met my husband in 1998. We were married in the year 2000. And honestly, my divorce just happened last week. It's been 3 years, but it's been tough. It's been tough because I love hard. But sometimes you grow apart. Sometimes you grow apart and sometimes you want other things in life. And even though I am at a certain age, I still want stuff, Yeah. Yeah. I still want to do. I still want to move. I still want to travel. I still want to make movies, write books. And we never know when, the bullet that our name is on is going to hit. We just never know. So today is what I have, and I have to make the most of it.
That is going to be the title of this video. Today is all I have, and I'm going to make the most of it. And that's the reason why we're here right now. Because a lot of people know it theoretically, but in practicality, they still do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Right.
And happiness takes sometimes more than just dreaming big, right? Like you said in Hollywood, sometimes you dream. It's amazing to dream. It is the basis, imagination, right? It's the basis of creating the life that you want. But it's not enough. It requires hard work, action. And action can be a positive action or can be a negative action. It could be the wrong type of action that you're taking. Just because you take action doesn't mean that is going to take you where you want to go. So with that being said, I want to ask you, from everything that you've shared with me, right? The divorce, the murder, the roller coaster with the movies. If you were to say that you had some obstacles, what are the biggest obstacles that you think you faced so far, right? Because, yeah, she was murdered. It was her journey. It was her path. It created an awakening within you. But, you're here. And there was a reason why that happened. So for you personally, what were the biggest obstacles that you overcame, and what did you learn from those obstacles?
Oh, well, I think that I am definitely my biggest obstacle. Because as positive as you'll think I am today, and as fierce as you think I am, the truth is, I do have some self-esteem issues. And sometimes they rear their little heads up and say, oh, you're not good enough. Oh, they don't want you. Oh, you're too fat. You're too skinny. You're too beautiful. You're too ugly. All of those things come into play. And guess what? They come into play with all of us. We're just human beings. We just are who we are. But I am a person with those obstacles that sees the glass half full and not half empty, So I choose to rise above. I'm not saying I don't stay in bed curled up in a ball for hours upon a time, but I always manage to get myself up and look at the world in a different way and have hope. It's funny because the director I was speaking about that I worked with in 1984, he used to say, hope is the last to die. And you know what? It's so true. As long as you have hope in your heart, you get up. I mean, listen, we go through times that the darkness just takes over. And I have been through that time in this last few years with my divorce. Not so much for the divorce because the divorce needed to happen, but because my expectations of my ex-husband were so high that I thought that he would go, on this divorce journey with me. And that wasn't the case. And I think one of the greatest obstacles is that I do have very high expectations of people, of the world. And I want everything to be that fairy tale from the books that I read as a child. I want a happily ever after. And the truth is, nobody promised me a rose garden. Nobody guarantees me anything. I may not get the happily ever after that I want, but along the way, I am going to smell the roses, cut them up, and put them in a vase because I have to. Otherwise, I might as well lay down and not get up. I must continue on doing the simple things that make me happy. I'm going to end there because I think those are my greatest obstacles.
So the fact that you feel that you're not good enough, why?
It's a childhood thing, and not to diss my parents because they were born in an era where, a lot of children had to live this way. I wasn't really nurtured into the way that I needed to be. I think my mom thought that criticizing me was a way to get me to change the blue work shirt she hated or do anything, And bless her heart, my mother was a beautiful woman. But I had a lot of a lot of criticizing. I actually wasn't the nice Jewish girl she wanted me to be. I was my own person. And as you know, I can be fierce and outspoken and fearless. And that's not who my mom wanted. She wanted a nice Jewish girl going to go to a temple every weekend, follow in her path. It's one big thing that parents make as parents, a mistake as parents make as parents, is trying to turn their kids into who they are. One must be nurtured for who they are becoming. And you have to keep your eyes open, and you have to see what they're becoming, and you have to see what they like. And, guidance is one thing. Hitting you over the head with something else is something else.
The women, for all of them that are watching that, feel close. And I think, like you said, a lot of us go through these things, right? Where if you spend a little bit of time with yourself and you go back into your past childhood, we all go through some traumas. Maybe they could be small little incidents, they could be bigger incidents that create some triggers then for all of us as adults. And it can be very, very hard to get out of that energetic closet, because it could be, again, something even gestational, or it could be, past generations that we can't really explain. But when you have something in this present life that's happened to you as a child, and it kind of just follows you, it's just not easy. So I love the fact, because kind of that was going to be my next question. Right? So you talked about the obstacle, it's yourself, right? Because your mom, like you said, it's a generational thing. In that period, it wasn't all about good job. The people were not aware of this as much. It was more about, you gotta do certain things thinking they're gonna toughen you up, right? And so you can't blame them because they didn't know better. And so you gotta just put yourself right now in the current chapter, number 3, in this moment, every day, like you said, I smell the flowers and do the small little things that make you happy, which is exactly where, to all of the listeners, that's the secret. That is the secret. There's really no magical formula for happiness. But if you want to create the best out of your journey and not only think about the destination, I think that the secret is really being in this moment right now. When you walk, you walk. When you eat, you eat. When you sleep, you sleep. When you talk to someone, you talk to someone. You give them the energy, you give them the attention, and you're present, and you get the most out of whatever experience you have in that moment. Why do you think that a lot of women fear life, or fear being maybe successful, getting out of that comfort level? What do you think some of the toughest challenges for women right now are?
I think self-esteem is a big issue still, in our world. And I think that one of the biggest challenges is they don't think they can. But guess what, watchers? You can. It's a choice. It's a choice you make. You may not reach it to the top of the mountain, but you'll have a really good life if you journey on up and do the best you can. I mean, some people look straight, and that's all they see. Other people look right and left and straight. And then some people look all over. I'm one of those people who looks all over because I'm curious. I'm curious about people. I'm a studier of behavior, And I think that what stops a person is fear, or, but fear can be conquered by little baby steps. So if you really want something, take one baby step towards it. I don't care if it's every day. I don't care if it's a class, a phone call. Reach out to someone who's worse off than you. When I get down, and I do, it's exactly what I do. I reach out to someone who's a little worse off than I am. A lady down the street who doesn't really have anyone and lost her husband. I bring her a cookie from a bakery. Those little acts of kindness make you better, make you stronger. By giving to other people, you're so giving to yourself. And that's, that comes with my age. I've learned that as I go along and being of a certain age. And that's what kind of keeps me going.
You hit it. Yeah, it's exactly right. Those small little acts of kindness, or go and volunteer, or go travel the world. I know that you are very well traveled, and I feel that a lot of people don't understand how hard some other people really have it. Really, they don't. And so if you're not traveling, it's almost like, you're only living one page of your book, of your life book. You're not looking at the whole book, all of your chapters, and you don't understand, how you go in a different culture and it's a completely different story. There are children who work since the age of 6 or whatever, just bring water for their family to drink. And that can change and will change your perspective. But dreaming, looking always in the future at what you want, dreaming big, not being in fear, acknowledging those small little things. People forget. Just be in nature. Look at the stars. Be grateful every day for the toothpaste, because other kids never saw toothpaste, other children, other women don't even think about those things. Don't have a phone, don't have a computer, don't have a dress, an apartment, a car, a dog, anything. That is the biggest thing that, in my opinion, is just very important to remember. So really thank you for sharing. I think you really touched absolutely everything just by saying you are your biggest obstacle. You saw that you weren't good enough. So many women that are watching this that are over 60, connect with Lizzie. I will have all her information there. If you are low, like she said, you can call Lizzie. I'm sure she's going to answer. And you can just say, hey, I saw your interview on Elevate with Yoana, and I need someone to talk to. If that's all you need one day, 5 minutes to talk to someone, I'm here for you. Lizzie's here for you. This is the goal of this episode, of this channel, of the podcast that will be launched, for all of you to know that you have someone to call and that you're not alone. We're all going through the same journey, and it's not about the destination. It's not about the peak. It's not about being successful. It's about just being joyous, enjoying every single day to the best of our capacity.
Yeah, I have a little story about that. The other day I was walking my dog down the street, and I came across a girl, and she was taking a picture of a tree, and she lives in the neighborhood. And I said, yes, the jacarandas are in bloom. They're a beautiful purple tree here in Los Angeles. She goes, yes, and this is the best one ever. Here in the neighborhood, she doesn't walk like this. She looks side to side and she sees a tree. So I want to tell your viewers today to go out and look at a tree. They're amazing. They're just amazing. Touch the tree. Feel the tree. There's just so much right around you. It's really the simple things that will make you happiest.
The simple things in life. Well, I was very surprised there's a study that was done. Do you know that the amount of time needed for a person to stay outside is 67 minutes a day?
Wow.
I don't know how did they how did they end up with this number. I don't think half of the population spends 67 minutes per day outside. And think about the level of vitamin D. And again, you're in California. Different states are different. How many women are suffering because they don't have vitamin D? They are not taking their minerals. They're all over. Their hormones are all over the place. Like, I just discovered that my testosterone is very low. Testosterone, like, what? I was going to the doctor and he said, "You're okay." Like, I don't feel okay. Something's not right. Like, I just feel it. I can't explain it, right? So there are all these things that appear. So not only do we have to be proactive with making sure that we're taking care of ourselves mentally, spiritually, but also your health. Like Lizzie said, go check out the trees, the flowers, walk, be in nature, put your phone down, leave it alone. It's going to be there when you go back home. Very, very important. And I guess a lot of people talk about these things, and a lot of stars, right? Like you see Mel Robbins, and they're absolutely amazing women, such inspiration. But not enough women like me and you have these type of conversations and put them out there. Thank you so much for being here. I know you gotta go as well.
Thanks for having me on. And I just wish the best for all your viewers. You got this. You got this life.
I love it. And I know that by giving back, these episodes are going to stay there for a long time, and they're going to inspire millions of women throughout the world. So that's the vision. That's the goal.
I like it.
Ciao. Take care.